Okay, welcome to the broadcast. I'm having some difficulty streaming tonight, and I'm just making sure that we're broadcasting loud and clear. Nothing seems to be going across, and I apologize. So I think what I'm going to do is jump over. Oh, looks like maybe we are going live now. Okay, good. All right, sorry about that. Just give me 1 second to kind of get everything up. So hopefully you can see me, and if you can actually type in a chat, and then I'll know that there are some folks out there watching right now. My apologies, technology, when you want it to work right, it just has some weird things going on. But I think everyone can see me now. I just have to fix a couple of quick items, and I think we're good to go. Not seeing anything coming through on the live chat, but I will click the pop-out chat and we'll see. If you're out there, I'd sure love for you to type something in just so I know that folks are watching, but it looks like we're good to go right now. So, all right, I am going to bring up a little area here that I want to go over, and it is the you're looking now at my live at the website, the student portal, and I just want to quickly go over a couple of things with you here right now. First of all, don't forget, one of the things I know some people are having trouble with, and I'm doing what's called a learning path now. And it works much easier for delivering the materials and some other things we want to do with the course. But if you're in the Missouri course and you are a student, I just want to point this out. When you open up the dashboard here, you'll notice that the Missouri 48-hour course or the Kansas or Indiana, whatever school you are in, populates at the top of the course. Notice this little arrow right here. If you make that smaller, you will see your other courses down below. You can see your review modules, Real Estate Math Made Easy. These are some study sessions. So I know, like, one of the students that should be on the call tonight, at least I hope you are, there's some great math videos here that you can watch. All of the chapter reviews are here, but if you scroll down below, you'll find a lot of math sessions that I've done down here below. Here are some practice exams that you can take. And then there's we put the new Missouri exam questions, Missouri law. I just want to point that out because when you go into your course dashboard, you see what you're in. But if you minimize this, just remember there's a lot of really good information down below the course, okay? And I believe if you come up here and you select home, I'm not certain if that shows all of that, but if you go to course library here, should show you all of those courses right here as well. So again, you can do that from right there. Okay, wanted to show you that. I also want to very quickly go out and see if we have any questions or anybody that's added anything. I haven't seen anybody type a chat message in yet, so well, we will hope there are some folks out there. So sometimes people say hi, and that's good too, but I don't see any messages that have come through as of yet, but that's okay. So no problem there whatsoever. But if you have a question, type that in. I'll come back there from time to time. Now, want to show you one other thing, and I'm very excited about this. Well, I say I'm excited. I could be a lot happier, but I am still pretty happy. And I want to show you what's going on here, kind of let you see this here. I probably should bring this up on my iPad, and we could possibly, which might be kind of interesting, yeah, so let's do this. I'm going to bring this into Notability, And I'm going to mirror this over to my MacBook so you can see this. And I think I know what's going on here, so we'll fix that. Technology, but you gotta love it. It's okay. I know what's happening here, so I can get rid of this real quick. So here we go. Now we should be okay. All right, so I have this pulled up. I created a new note. We'll import that. This is something that I love my iPad, and I do a lot of things with this. I actually sign all of my sales contracts when I'm out in the field with this app called Notability. But what I wanted to go over with you, and I need to allow and show all, and now you'll be able to see this. What I wanted to go over with you was, and I'll make this bigger for you so you can see it, we got our pass rates today for December, and I just wanted to show you to verify that the information you're studying is correct and it's good information, and if you follow my game plan, you follow what I'm telling you, you will do really well. So here's Global Real Estate School, and I'm just going to highlight a couple of things for you here. Here's Global Real Estate School, and here's December. This is the total number I had tested last month. We had 13 total tested. There were 341 people in the state who were actually tested, but we had 9 people pass the exam for a 69% pass rate. But you will notice the state only had a 35% pass rate. And we had, for the first time, which is right here, our first time, we had 12 first-timers. 8 of those passed the exam on the first time for 67% versus 48% for the state. So just wanted to, to show you that I think that's really good. And I'm not going to pull up the other schools here. You can get this information off the state website. But, I think this just shows that we're right up there close to that 70% mark. And I can tell you that we did very, very well. So for some reason, I don't know what this is, and I need to find out, but it's showing us at 80% here for first-timers versus 61% on the state. And I guess that's persons that pass the national and the state. So, but that's what this says up here. So I don't know. We did well, and I just want you, to understand that the information's correct, it's adequate. If you follow the information, you'll do really well. So 2 more things that I think are very, very important for you, and I want to show you this right now. So we're going to go back over here to my iPad, and I'm going to go out here, and I'm going to type in Google. And I want you, when you go to Google, to type in Global Real Estate School Podcast, okay? And you'll notice here at the top is Podbean, but you can also access the podcast via iTunes right down here. So if you're a big Apple person, you could click on it right here and subscribe to it, or you can also click on it and go to Podbean, and you can listen to all the episodes there. In fact, I think at Podbean you can download their app, but I believe you can actually listen to all of the episodes. So I have lots of information, and the reason I'm showing you this today is because I want you to understand when I hear about exam questions that come up from students on the exam, it's too difficult for me to go in and change the material. Now, and what I want you to understand is I cover the material in the course. If there's ever an opportunity where someone says they saw something and I'm like, I don't have that in the course, because when I first launched my course a couple of years ago, people were seeing questions on the do not fax and the do not call, and I didn't have anything in there about that. So I immediately went in and put that information in the course. So if someone tells me they see a specific question, the way it's worded, 99% of the time it's like, okay, I know I've already got that in the material. However, I probably need to go back over the teaching topic for that. And so I normally will do a podcast or I will do a YouTube video. So I'm going over this because I want you to, first of all, subscribe to my podcast. So that's very important. And then when you go to YouTube, what you need to do is go up here and search for Global Real Estate School. And generally, I will pop up, and then if you click on here, you want to be sure and subscribe, okay? And so be sure and subscribe to Global Real Estate School, because, for example, right here, and I haven't updated the front cover, how to figure amortization, okay? There was an exam question on this, and so I cover it right here. So again, it's very important for you, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because I want to get into some of the math and different things we have tonight. However, I kind of like when I do the live streaming for the first 5 to 10 minutes, this is my time as your coach, your instructor, to go over, hey, these are some specific things you need to know, and be sure. And here, if someone saw this on the exam, I want to cover it for you and go over it. I had a lady, it's been a couple of months ago, and it's kind of ironic. She sent me an email, and I get very few of these. I've maybe gotten 3 or 4 of these, but she didn't pass the test, and she was very upset. And she sent me an email and said, there were things on the test I'd never seen before. And she gave me some examples of topics. And as I'm reading the email, I'm like, that's in chapter 10. That's in chapter such and such. Well, I went through and I pointed out every slide and every question where those topics were covered. And, here's the bottom line. She just didn't study, period, okay? This test is challenging and it's difficult. And if you don't study, it's going to chew you up and spit you out on the sidewalk. She did not study. I covered that information in the course. There are several questions regarding that topic. And so, but I immediately went out and did a podcast and covered that topic again, because if they're covering that on the exam, I want to make sure that we talk about it. So again, that's the best place for you to subscribe. I would go there and listen. If you have the iPhone or you have YouTube and you subscribe, normally will notify you when there's a new episode. Now, you can also, last one, and then we're going to get started. You can also just go to Global Real Estate, ESTATE, school.com. And from there, notice right here, I have a YouTube channel. And that's tied into my YouTube channel. And so here are my 5-minute real estate exam tips. Here's some real estate math tips. These are all videos. These are all of the webinars we do, because I put these in a playlist, so they'll come over tonight's episode, and all of the podcasts are right here too. So, I'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast and YouTube, but you can also subscribe to YouTube here, and you can also listen to everything right from from Global Real Estate School. Okay, that's enough of that. But again, I only want to go over this kind of, I'm actually talking and I didn't show you that. My apology. At Global Real Estate School, here's the YouTube channel right here. And then these are the 5-minute real estate exam tips. All of the math videos are here. All of the webinars like we're doing tonight, live streaming, are here. And all the podcasts are here. So you can also access those right from Global Real Estate School where you purchase the course right here as well. So just remember that. Now, again, I only go over that with you, and I want to spend the first 5 or 10 minutes with you being your coach and reminding you about the tools and resources you have, because sometimes people forget to click that little arrow over to the side and they don't realize there's other content down below and you can review from down below and so forth. Okay, let me see if we have any questions. I don't know if that will allow me. Let's see here. Doesn't look like we have any questions right now. So, all right. Well, we're going to get started here. And there were a couple of questions that I've had a couple of students that have written me about having trouble with some of the math. I was wanting to set up my board over here to where I could be able to do some live streaming from my board, and I just couldn't get the lighting the way I wanted it tonight. So I didn't get a chance to pull up some of the questions that I've written. So I'm just going to use a book here, and we will be sure and give the book proper credit, okay? And I'm going to kind of abbreviate some of these here. So let me pull up a question for us. One thing I did want to cover tonight is amortization. So let's do that first. Because there was an agent that said she saw an amortization table on the exam and she didn't know what to do. Kind of freaked her out. And I said, well, in the amortization table, did they want you to calculate? Did they want you to calculate the monthly payment and the principal and interest payment and figure out what it is? And she said, yeah, I think that's what it was. So you could see a question very well on how to calculate a loan balance. And so here's how they're going to give you this type of a question. You're going to, first of all, have a lot of information in the problem. In that problem, they're going to give you things like a loan amount. Okay, that will be one thing you will have. They will also give you an interest rate. So let's just say it's 4.5%. And they will say something about it was a 30-year note. Now, the other thing, I'm going to calculate this for us here. Where did my calculator go? It's right behind my iPad. So they're $275,000 and 4.5% interest for 30 years is a payment. That's not right. 275 principal value. Looks like my 4.5. Well, okay, so it's giving me this. It looks like I'm in some kind of a weird, I don't think this is right, but maybe it is. 234.87. Now, you will not have to calculate the payment, okay? They will always give that to you in the problem. But they're going to drop down and say, this maybe was the original This was the original terms that the seller took out. And the loan balance on April 1st is, let's just say, because they're selling the property, let's just say the loan balance is $267,544. And so closing, they're going to give you this information in the problem too. Then they're going to say closing is May 23rd. And here's what you're going to have to answer. What is the loan balance on the day of closing? Or in other words, how much will the seller, what's going to be required to pay off the seller's loan? All right? Now, don't let this freak you out. It is so easy. It's easy peasy. I think I heard David say that on QVC last night. You can tell what my life's like. There's nothing good on TV anymore, and you don't want to watch the news channels because they just drive you crazy. And you're not supposed to be watching TV anyway. You're going through the real estate school. But this is easy peasy, okay? It's very easy to do. So just watch me, and we're going to go through this together, all right? So first of all, this was the original amount. This is just a stray bullet trying to throw you off balance, okay? This down here is what we need. However, this is the April 1st payment. Now remember, your interest or your mortgage payment, I should say, which, we're going to have some interest, is always paid in arrears. And I'm a creative speller, so I'm just A-R-R-E-R-S. That may not be right, but you get it. So the payment or the loan balance on April 1st was how much? $267,544. That's the loan balance on April 1st. Now, if interest is paid in arrears, this loan balance on April 1st, the payment they made on April 1st really covered March 1 to 31. Excuse me. So when you make the April 1st payment, you are actually paying for the month of March because interest is always paid in arrears. Now, information you need to know for the real estate exam: rent is paid in advance. All right, so you got to know that. So don't forget, mortgage payment, interest paid in arrears, rent paid in advance. So let's start solving this problem here. This is our loan balance, April 1st. Don't forget, closing is May 23rd. So here's how we, 267,544. I'm going to do a T problem. We talk about our T problem a lot. 267,544. And we're going to multiply that times the percentage rate, which is in our problem, it's 4.5% right there. So we're going to multiply that times 4.5%, but John always says move your decimal over 2 places. If we do that, we have to come out here and add a 0, don't we? Now, remember that we're solving now for the smaller number. And just so I want to go back over this, our T formula says we have part total, and this is, of course, the rate or percent. Whenever we have you'll always have 2 of these in your problem. Whenever you have the 2 bottom ones, your math tells you to what? Multiply. And that will give you the number for the top. Now, why did I know that we were putting the 267,544 down below? Because I always say total also means bigger number and part means a smaller number. Well, what we're doing here is we're taking the loan balance times the interest rate, and we will get the annual interest that you would pay on this property. So for April, so 267,544, and our math tells us to do what? Multiply. So I'm going to do times 0.045, and that gives you $12,039.48. Now, what is this? This is your annual interest. That's the annual interest you would earn, or pardon me, that you will pay based on this loan balance. Okay? Now, when we come back over here and look at this number right here is what? This is the monthly principal and interest payment. P&I, principal and interest payment. So 1234.87. I'm going to bring this over here and just put this 1234.87. Is that right? 1234.87. This is why I was wanting to do this on the board tonight, and the lighting just wasn't very good. Now, we have to put P and I. That's principal and interest, okay? This number right here is our annual interest, so we need to divide it by 12. 12,039.48 divided by 12 gives us $1,003.29. Now, what is this? Well, if this is annual interest and we divide it by 12, this is monthly interest. And so we would bring this number down here and we would subtract it. Why? Because this is interest. And when we subtract the $1,003.29, so 1234.87 monthly principal and interest are, and remember that, monthly principal and interest. So 1234.87 minus the interest, 1,003.29, gives me $231.58. Now, I have been known in doing these live, because I'm not double checking, to be off a dollar or do something weird. If you get the right number and I messed up somewhere, don't panic and freak out, okay? Just understand I'm doing this live and sometimes it's a little more challenging. So this, and just so we can kind of distinguish these here, this is principal. This is the interest. So that's the principal part right there, okay? Now, what's interesting is this, remember we made this loan balance, we took times this rate, gave us this, and all of this. This would have been done on May 1st. Because when we make the May payment, this was our loan balance April 1st. So what do we do with this $231.58? We need to subtract it from the loan balance because you don't want to pay principal on this amount the second time. So $267,544 minus the principal that you paid on May 1st, 0.58, equals a new loan balance of $267,312.42. This is the loan balance on May 1st. That's your new loan balance. Because when we calculated the interest and got the annual interest divided by 12, got the monthly interest, subtract it from the payment, this is how much on May 1 would have went to the principal. And so now we have a new loan balance to use on, that's our loan balance on May 1st. But we're closing on May 23rd. And interest is always paid in arrears. So let's go over and do this a little deeper. So our new loan balance on May 1st is $267. We're on May 1 now, right? And so we're going to do another T problem. Remember, this is part, total, percent. So the new loan balance is $267,312.42. The interest is 4.5%. John says move that decimal over 2 places. Our math tells us to do what? Tells us to multiply because we have the 2 bottom numbers. So when I multiply the new May 1st loan balance times 0.045, I get $12,029.06, and this is our annual interest. So when we divide this by 12, we get $1,002.42. And now let's just divide this by 30. And usually you're always going to use a 30-day. So they will tell you whether to use 30 or 31, but generally they will always say use a 30-day. So the daily interest is $33.41. This is daily. And we're closing on May 23rd. So there are 23 days of interest because you always pay interest in arrears. And so the interest charge for May is $768.52. So what was the loan balance May 1st? It was this number here. We're going to add $768.52. And when we add that to our loan balance on May 1st, I get $268,080.94. So when they ask you what the loan balance is for the closing on May 23rd, that's the payoff right there. It's kind of interesting because sometimes, when I would first get in the real estate business, and you're going to use this when you get your license, because you're going to go to the closing and the seller's going to say, well, that's not our payoff. Our payoff was, I have a statement where our payoff was $267,312.42. Well, yeah, that was the payoff on May 1st, but interest is always paid in arrears, so you have 23 days of interest, okay? So you probably will see a question like that, and you need to know how to amortize, and that's how you do it. Now, if the closing had been June 23rd, we would have, just amortized it as we did, find out how much went to principal, subtract it from the loan balance, and then repeated the process for deducted that, repeat the process. So you just keep multiplying your loan balance times your interest rate, gives you your annual interest, divide it by 12, gives you your monthly interest, subtract that from the principal and interest payment, and now you know how much goes to the principal, and you deduct that from the loan balance, and then you start that same process all over again. Now, can I throw a curveball at you? I'm gonna crank it up a notch, as Emerald would say. You could very well, and I want global real estate school students to be more than prepared, okay? We finished in the top of our class for all the schools out there, and I know 69%. I've had some 77, and I had an 84% pass rate one year, and I had one of my students sending me an email there or a text message there, and so I'll have to get back to them. I don't know if they're on the call or not, but had an 84% pass rate. I've had 77, but I was pleased with this. I mean, I definitely want to always stay above the state average, but I'm going to throw a curveball at you. So what if they gave you the payment was $1,628.14, and this was PITI. This stands for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. I'm abbreviating. Well, they will tell you taxes are $1,200. And for simplicity's sake, I'm going to say insurance is $1,200. They won't be that easy on the test. But what you have to remember is this right here includes taxes and insurance. So $2,400 divided by 12 gives you $200. So when you're doing these amortization problems, you need to remember that this would be $1,428.14. Okay? This is your true principal and interest. So when you get your monthly interest, you want to subtract the interest from this number, not this number here. And the other thing you have to be very careful of, that's why I say read these questions extremely carefully, very carefully, is oftentimes, many times, they may throw quarterly or semi-annually in there. So just be conscious, don't panic. If they say the taxes, the quarterly taxes are $300, and take 300 times 4, and so the annual taxes are $1,200, so it's $100 a month for taxes. Get that out of your payment. just read the questions very carefully. I haven't heard of them getting that touchy, but you never know. And I don't want you to miss that, because it's just a very simple thing to, okay, what's my taxes and insurance? Add them up, divide by 12, and then subtract that from that principal and interest, taxes and insurance payment. Here's something else you got to be careful for, and this is why you have to read the question so carefully, because this is how they love to trip you up. They could give you the principal and interest payment. In other words, they could say this right here is the principal and interest, and they could give you this stuff in the problem trying to get you to work off this number. But they may say the mortgage payment, the principal and interest is $1,628.14. And then on through that problem, they give you what the taxes are, what the insurance is, and that could mess you up. So just be very cautious and careful of that. And, I'm just trying to, more than anything, wanting you to realize, take your time, read the questions carefully, and understand what they're trying to give you. Now, they will give you, and I've said this on many of our other broadcasts, if you've watched some of my videos, they love to give you junk that you don't even need. Like when I was taking the test to get the school approved in Oklahoma, I remember one question, and I can't tell you what I saw on the exam, but I can tell you that when I saw the question and it popped up on my screen, I was like, oh man, I was like wore out, and I hadn't even read the question. And so I start digging through and reading the question and making all these notes, and there was just tons of stuff in there. And then I get down, and the question was, how does the earnest money show on the closing statement? It was like, or how much earnest money did the buyer put down? And so like they gave me a question this long with all this junk in the question, and they just wanted one little piece of information out of that question. So don't let those longer questions trip you up. Remember, they like to give you additional information that you don't even have to, they're not even going to test you on, but they maybe want to suck you in to calculate the taxes and insurance when the payment they give you in the problem is just principal and interest. So just read them carefully. Hopefully everybody knows how to do, and I'm going to just go back out here. I'm going to stop by mirroring so I can see what's the questions. But hopefully, I see Sonia. Hello there. How are you doing? So, and she figured out how to chat. So good. So hope this was helpful for you, Sonia. Also, Sonia, I just want to make sure you understand, because you had some questions on some tax problems from the YouTube channel, the Global Real Estate School channel. If you'll go back a couple of webinars, I did do some questions, some videos on real estate tax math. So those are there, and I'm going to try to work one of those problems or something else for you while we're on the webinar tonight. But I know this is a math question you might see. Now, here's the other thing. There's not a lot of math on the exam, so don't worry about that. You might see some math about, and they love these questions, that it was a straight note. And they give you a lot of information that you want to do. For example, you want to do what we just did, the amortization. But if the word straight note is in the problem, remember a straight note is interest only. Okay, so let's do that real quickly here. And let me come back over and mirror my MacBook, because I was just checking. Good. I'm glad that this has been helpful for you. Thank you for that. Okay, so I want to go right over here and just want you to remember straight note is interest only. So if you had a problem and they said that it was a $10,000 straight note at 6% interest, that would be 0.06. Remember, we move our decimal over 2 places. So they will say, 10,000 times 0.06 is going to be $600, I believe. I don't think that would be, I think it's 600 times 0.06 equals $600, yeah. Now, this is the annual interest. If you see a problem and they ask and they tell you it's a straight note and they say, what is the loan balance in 12 months, or what's the they want to know what the loan balance is. Remember, this is interest only, so the loan balance is still going to be $10,000 in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Why? Because it's a straight note and it's interest only. A lot of those questions I've seen on the test. It's interesting. I was talking to a friend today. We were having coffee at Panera, and we were talking about people that win the lottery. And I said, if you won, let's just say you won the lotto and you won $2 million. And that was your actual take. Now, CDs are around 2%. So if you just wanted to invest $2 million in a CD at 2% interest, okay, because let's just say you were able to get 2%, that's $40,000 interest. And that's what? That's annual interest, isn't it? Now, if we divide that by 12, that's only $3,333 a month. And I know you say, well, it's only, but he and I were talking about that's probably why so many people who win the lottery end up you hear about them going broke. But and I mean, I remember Ed McMahon when he filed bankruptcy, and I remember some quote or somebody was saying he was spending more than he was taking in. But if you think about it, if you won the lottery and you just invested that in CDs, you're still going to have to go out and work a job, probably, or make sure you don't spend over $3,300 a month. Here's what's mind-boggling, though. Let's say you won $265 million, and I'm just doing these to show you how you can use the T problem. Let's say you got $265 million. You won the big Powerball or Mega Millions, and you said, okay, I'm just going to invest this in CDs, make sure everything's risk-free. How much money do you earn a year? Well, 265 million times 0.02 equals $5,300,000. This is yearly, right? Now let's divide that by 12 and see how much you would have every month. $441,666 a month and 67 cents. I'm going to make sure I did that right. Times 0.02 equals 5,000,003 divided by 12, $441,666. Now that would take a lot of goofing up to, I guess, burn through that per month. But I only did that for you I hope I had that on where you were able to see that. Did I have that on where you could see that? I hope so. I only did those two to show you how to use the T problem and how interest rate and it's the same way with with amortizing. Once you know what your monthly interest is, you can divide that from your or subtract that from your principal and interest payment, and then you're able to get the amount to deduct for the principal. Well, I'm looking here, and we've been on here for 1 full hour. So I just want to remind everybody that I'm going to come back out here and disconnect my iPad, and I want to go back out here very quickly and show you a couple of things that I want to make sure that everybody is aware of in case some of you came on late. Don't forget, when you log into your course, this little arrow button over to the side, if you close that, you will notice that you have other modules down below. And there are practice exams, there's some math made easy. You always want to review in the review sessions, okay? These are unlocked, so if you go into any of the review modules, they're unlocked. You can jump around wherever you want to in those. But this, and I wanted to point this out for Sonia as well, who's on here. See, I've done a bunch of math problems down here. So some of you need some help with math. There's some really good math problems. Most of these are math that we've done. I used to post these on the website, but now if you just go to YouTube and you go to search for YouTube, you can find all of the videos right here. And probably the easiest way to do that, I should point that out, I think I did that a while ago, go to just Global Real Estate School, and over here is the YouTube channel, and they will populate, because I put all of the math videos that we've done into playlist, so you can watch all of the math webinars here. So, or you can go out to the YouTube channel, either way, but tons of videos that are out there. So, okay, so don't forget, subscribe to the podcast. You go to Google, type in Global Real Estate School Podcast, because remember, that's where I'm posting a lot of questions I hear about. And I try to do podcasts every couple of days. You can listen to those while you walk, while you're in your car. Don't forget, subscribe. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Any kind comments you can put or positive reviews are helpful. And then feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. We had a great pass rate last month, but I want to see January even do better. And I heard from one of my students today, Al. He passed his exam today on the first attempt, and a couple of folks emailed me this last week and said they passed on the first attempt. So January's looking really good. You can do this. This is a great time to get up and running. And by the way, I'm going to probably tomorrow, I am doing some coaching calls for Global Real Estate School students. They are free to you. I really don't encourage you to watch those right now, because I think you need to pass the test. But please don't forget, once you do pass your test and get licensed, I'm recording these, so we have some coaching calls, and I'll be doing them monthly, and you will have access to those. So just put that in your memory bank to reach back out to me. Well, listen, thanks so much for watching tonight. Hope this was helpful. I'll send a link out to everybody that wasn't with us and show them. But as always, reach out to me if you have any questions. And have a great evening and a good weekend. It's supposed to get a lot of rain here in Missouri, so talk to you soon. Bye.